Saturn in Aquarius 23. A big bear sitting down and waving all its paws. The discipline of self-control. In each of us, a powerful animal nature exists, and if left unchecked, would cause unhelpful and antisocial outcomes. Yet life is nothing more than a series of training exercises and examinations through which we learn to tame the beast. It requires not only obedience to impose discipline, although this is how the training starts. To be effective, it must truly lead to full acceptance of the imperative of self-discipline. When we are self-controlled, then we may safely employ whatever animal power we can access. We learn to control our animal nature so that we can have it available as a resource. And this is the demonstration of self-control. Power and knowledge come when animal passion and spiritual passion unite. We're animals and we're angels. The animal nature is a survival instinct, and it's only a matter of 100,000 years or less since we've been hunter-gatherers, and that's recent in terms of genetic coding. We need to have an animal nature, a survival ability, an ability to kill, to eat. That's deep within us. And we need to have instincts and so on. This animal nature is very definitely a part of who we are. And yet we aspire to know God and to know sacredness and to practice these things. And that's our angelic nature showing through. And we're trying to find a blend of the animal and the angel in the human species. That's what the human is. It's an attempt to balance the spiritual realms with the material realms in a life. And it is not okay to repress our animal nature completely. It's just wrong. It won't work. It will bubble up and it will come out. And this is what war is on the most extreme level, because we do have animal aggression. It's really obvious when you think about it. You look around at what happens between people. They have this animal aggression. And the more civilized you are, the less that animal nature pops through. And you get pats on the head by everyone. You get rewarded for that. When you have tamed the beast within you, you're allowed into polite society. There's a danger in this. And Aries 23 is speaking as much to this danger as the need to civilize yourself. And the danger is that if you over-civilize yourself, you lose access to the power of that animal quality. Now, a bear waving its paws, that represents an awesomely dangerous, powerful force, seated, in other words, passive, playful. That's what we can do with the animal nature within us, whether that's rage or aggression or the inclination towards being violent at some point. That's what's being discussed here. Although animal powers are much wider than that question of force and strength. There are other animal abilities, and we don't want to lose them. Our survival actually depends upon them. Angels don't do very well on this physical earth plane. They don't really function very well. And you might have met angelic people. I have, and they were often victimized because they just don't have the animal aggression to defend themselves and to realize that they're in harm's way. You think about the angels, they're living in peace, harmony, beauty, love, spiritual grace and everything. They don't know about danger. They didn't know about competition. And so if angels incarnate, they really have to learn what most of us had to learn quite early on, that it pays to be a little bit animal-like to survive and cope with this kind of world. And you can't do your work here unless you survive. Survival's first. All the niceties come later. So the double meaning here in this degree is sit your animal down on the floor and be playful with it. You know, let it be, but let it not offend civilization. Because if we don't have civilization, then we live in fear, and many of us die. So we must have civilization, so we must tame the beast, no question. But what we're saying is, enough's enough. You can tame the beast only so much before it will explode in your face. So you have to find an outlet to allow animal expression to exist some of the time. It's not actually what this degree is saying. It's saying that you have to control the beast, but it's saying you have to tame it rather than kill it. That's the subtle wisdom. We want our animal nature to continue to exist and be available to us as a resource. Rudyard, Aquarius 23, a big bear sitting down and waving all its paws. The self-discipline which results from an intelligent development of individual faculties under proper training. What constitutes the proper training of children or animals is a complex and much disputed problem. The symbol seems to state simply that powerful life energies can be trained adequately, the implication of extension of the idea being that no training is really successful unless it leads to the realization of the value and power of self-discipline. We are constantly faced with situations which, whether we are aware of it or not, are in fact training situations. God, or the soul, is the trainer. Much depends upon the attitudes we assume in these situations. So this is coming from the perspective that if left untrained, the baby becomes an uncivilized animal. True. What to do then? Well, allow yourself to understand that life itself, through the agency of the soul and spirit flowing through the soul, life itself is a training course. We're being trained by our life scenarios to find a workable way of being who we are. All of it, all of the animal nature as well as the angelic nature has to express through our humanity, and that has to exist within the context of civilization. It's not a profound wisdom, really. It's not very subtle, is it? We know this already. But it is a good reminder that if there's a part of you that's denied your animal nature because you're over-civilized, A, that's not the soul's path. It won't work. B, it comes back and smacks you in the face later. You can't repress your animal nature. And see, why would you want to? Why would you want to be obedient to society when it requires you to be other than what you actually are? Now, a self-aware person of conscience and maturity and spiritual awakening will nevertheless present the animal nature sometimes. That's what life requires, and we're being encouraged to do that, and to do that in a way which is self-disciplined. If we don't, then we will be disciplined. The powers that be have got tanks and bombs, and we haven't. So eventually we're going to come up against a force of civilization, they call it, which stops us from being outrageously rebellious and throwing bombs back. We will be stopped. So the idea that we have a choice about this is moot. Either we choose to be self-disciplined or disciplined by the external forces of people with guns. So that's a stronger argument, perhaps, that you have to learn self-discipline or you will be disciplined. That's the case too. So, yeah, enjoy your animal nature, but make sure that you've got control of it or you're going to be controlled by others.